you can actually see where your sales are, where your cash went. Then you go, oh, and you start directing your business through money. And that's when it starts to make sense. I now work with budgets and stuff like that, which I never worked with any of that stuff before.
Yeah. And, it's like right now, so we're sitting on some, new programs that we've been in beta test with, right? And they're at the point where we're ready to scale. And in the past, we would have just thrown money at stuff, right? We would have thrown money at Facebook ads, hoping that things would work. And now we learned the hard way. It's like, okay, let's do this small, get it going, make sure, test it, get it right. And it has everything to do with cash flow. And those are not favorite words for creatives. And it's funny because one of my first webinars, when I was doing webinars and doing automated evergreen style webinars, was called Cash for Creatives.
Okay.
Was the name of the webinar.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So you were just talking about putting creativity, and this is one of the things I really enjoyed about your business is because when I was listening to the interview with you and Radio Red, you guys were talking about a color wheel and all that. And I was thinking from an artist standpoint, like I know the color wheel, but I'm thinking of paints and draw. Yours is a business plan. Like that's really, really cool. How did you get it to that? Like, that's not actually my next question, but I think since we're here, we're going through it. So tell me about that, because I thought it was really interesting. That's what most of us do. We put our plan on a piece of paper, and you hear all the time, oh yeah, it was started on a napkin. But we think, oh, if it's not 80 pages, it's not really a business plan. But it really is. And I've started doing it more the way that you're doing is how I've been working. So tell us how that helped you as an artist and get on board.
Yeah, so I was sitting in a coffee shop in Santa Barbara with my financial planner, and she's like, you need a business plan. We were doing the paper napkin plan and, doing numbers and projections. And she's like, well, how many clients do you need? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And, so she's helping me do the math. She's like, you need a business plan. I'm like, no, I don't. She was trying to get me to enroll in this 16-week self-employment training, create a formal traditional business plan. It's a local nonprofit organization. I'm like, I don't have 16 weeks to create a business plan. I need to go make money.
Right.
And, and I'm like, I don't need a business plan. I've been in business before. I got this. But at the end of the day, she was right. I was floundering. I needed structure. I needed a plan, but I didn't need a formal, traditional 80-page business plan.
Right.
I knew what I was doing. What I needed was a guide and a roadmap.
Yeah.
And so the concept of the one-page business plan is that it's a roadmap, and that if it's pretty, it's hanging on the wall where I can see it, and it reminds me what I'm supposed to be doing instead of getting buried in a drawer or, it's right there on the shelf in a binder beside my financial plan that I never look at.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, they're interactive living documents. And mine look like a mandala. And historically, the spiritual significance of a mandala is that it's representative of both the whole and each of the parts all at the same time.
Yeah.
And as you know, as a creative, we don't think in linear structure. We think in whole pictures. We think of scattered parts, right? Like the game Scattergories. Like we're thinking all over the map. And so what we need most is a container to hold all the ideas so that we can see them all at once. And then from that beautiful one-page visual, then we can create a linear step-by-step, here's what to do. But for creatives, our thought process, the way we get to clarity is so different than people who are linear thinkers. We have to go like big, get it all out on a page, and then start to sort and prioritize and sequence. And just because and I ask hard questions on my one-page business plan model. Like I ask you, what's your cost of doing business? How much do you need to make? What are you going to invest in your business this year? I ask the hard questions. But I do it in a way that is just a match for crazy creative brains that makes it really safe for them to come together and say, I don't understand what this means. I've never thought about this before. Like the whole idea of they have to actually pay themselves. When we talk about cost of doing business, they have to write in their own salary, right? And not pay their bills, their rent out of their business account, right? So, it's like those simple things like that. Just none of us were ever taught. It's not that anybody's doing anything wrong. So I have no judgment about where people are or what they're doing, but nobody ever taught us, right? How to do any of this.
I'm a graphic recorder, so it's this is why I say we are alike, and that might scare you. It probably
No,
should.
I know. Of course not.
It probably should, but I'm a graphic recorder, and I've been graphic recording for a number of years, but I've kind of formally started doing it for other people just over the last year. But I do it for myself all the time, and this is how I do my goals. I do it in a graphic recording style, but then I take that information, it's in my sketchbook, so I always have it, and then I put the actual details into my my planner on my phone, so that it pops up. So this month we're working on this, and it's like a separate list of all my goals, but they're all points from that. So I can go back and I have to see it visually as well. That's, if I don't, I get mixed up and I start getting into different areas. And
I love graphic recording.